I've got 3 trays here with a top piece with holes in it, and the bottom piece without holes in it. All 3 of them are the same. I'm going to fill them up with some potting soil and then put seeds in. Now I've got the trays all full. Sometimes I use the seed starting mix, the Jiffy Natural and Organic Seed Starting Mix, a little expensive, but I also use the Kellogg Patio Plus Organic Mixture. Either one will work. Today we're going to plant cabbage, radish, and broccoli, my 3 favorite items. This is the broccoli. You can see the seeds, how close I put them together. This is the radish. You see the seeds, how close I put them together. And this is the cabbage. You can see the seeds, how close I put them together. After I get them planted, I like to label them with the date. Next, I spray them with water and mist. You have to put on quite a bit to begin with because that soil absorbs a lot of moisture. For a while I tried using these grow mats and growing them hydroponically, but I just couldn't keep the moisture content at the right level. So now I use these grow mats on top of the seeds, and then I'll spray some water on them, and I get much better germination rates than I used to. Now I'll lightly spray them on top of the grow mats, and that keeps the moisture on the seeds and helps germination. The downside is these grow mats are biodegradable, so you can only use them for a couple days before they just completely disintegrate. So you have to be very careful. Now that they've been wet, I have to be very careful the next time I want to spray water underneath them on the seeds, because they'll start to come apart. The next step I do is to cover up the trays for a few days until the seeds begin to sprout. And I'll check these a couple times a day to make sure they still have moisture until we add some moisture to them. But putting the top on helps control the moisture. These are just regular bottom pieces that I just put on top like this to keep the sunlight out until they sprout and to help with the moisture content. Now I move the covered trays to my growing rack inside and wait for a few days. I'll check them probably this afternoon. It's morning, I'll probably check them this afternoon, maybe add a little more water to them late in the afternoon, and then do the same thing tomorrow morning. And we'll leave them covered for, depends on the germination rate, but probably 2 days, maybe 3. This is the second spray today. I sprayed them once this morning. And now I'll carefully take these off so they don't tear. Some more water in here. It takes a while before that soil gets very wet. It absorbs that moisture. Now carefully put this back on. Put some water on top of that. top of the grow mat. They're fragile, but they're still staying together. Another day or so, they're going to be really fragile and they'll start to come apart. Just like that. Now we'll go put them back on our shelf and cover them up and wait for tomorrow. This is day 2. I'm going to spray some more water on these things. It's morning of day 2. Take the tops off. Set them aside. Carefully open up the grow mats. Take the grow mats off. Spray some water. And I can see already that they started to sprout. Just a little bit of radish and a little bit of cabbage, but broccoli's done pretty well. Now I'll put a little water on top. And then wait until this afternoon and do the same thing again. I started these things on the 3rd. Today's the 5th, so 2 days. These grow mats are pretty fragile, coming apart here. Carefully take them off. You can see how well the stuff is germinated. Oops. Oops. All of those things are germinated very, very well. If you zoom in here a little bit, you can see the cabbage, radish, and broccoli have all germinated very well. I'll try to use the mats for one more day. I'll spray some water on it today, this morning, and keep the mats on for one more day, get the stragglers germinated, but it looks very good. I'll put the mats back on these things very carefully because they're already coming apart. After today, these mats are not going to be useful. Put the mats on, put the covers back on. And I'll put them back on the grow rack and wait until this afternoon. Okay, it's afternoon on the second day. You can see the germination is pretty darn good here. That's the broccoli, that's the radish, and that's the cabbage. Pretty darn good. I'll spray some water on them. And then I'll still keep these covered up for a day or two. Put them back on my rack, cover them up, and wait for tomorrow morning. Cover them up without the grow mats on top. The grow mats are pretty much deteriorated. And now I'll put them back on my inside the house in the grow shelf. Well, this is day 3, and you can see they're all sprouting pretty well. Had a good germination rate. I took the grow mats off the top of them. Now I'm going to spray some water on them. That should be enough water. I'll put the covers back on them. They're not quite high enough yet. I want them to be 2 or 3 inches high before I leave the covers off and subject them to sunlight. So I'll put the covers on them for another day or so, and we'll see what happens. This is the evening of day 3. You can see they're pretty well sprouted, and they're approaching the length where I'm going to keep them uncovered and start giving them sunlight. Right now I'm going to spray some water on them. Yeah, I'll keep these covered tonight, and then tomorrow, after I spray them, I will uncover them and let them get some light. Then they'll start to turn green. But once they're uncovered and moisture can get in them, or moisture can evaporate out of there more readily, then I'll probably have to water them 3 times a day because it's pretty dry out here. This is the fourth day growing these microgreens. I'm going to spray some water on them this morning, and then I will leave them uncovered under the grow lights. They're tall enough. They're 3 to 4 inches tall, all of them. Well, cabbage maybe not quite that tall, but pretty close to that. And the radish certainly. The radish grows really fast, and so does the broccoli. I'll spray some water on them, and then we'll put them under the grow lights. That's enough water. Now I'll leave them uncovered. I have the grow lights turned on. And since they're uncovered now, I might have to water them more than just twice a day. Could be up to 3 times a day. But having them indoors helps a lot. It doesn't get too hot in here. Last year when I was trying to grow them outside, I had to water them 4 or 5 times a day. That was just too hard. Works much better inside under grow lights. As predicted, it's the middle of the day on the 4th day, and I need to add some water here. So today, because they're uncovered, and they're starting to green up, but today because they're uncovered, I'm going to have to water them 3 times. Once in the morning, once about lunchtime, and once before we go to bed about 8:30, 9 o'clock. That should do it until about 8:30. Now I'll go put them back under the grow lights and wait till this evening, which is the 5th day of these things. You can see they're growing pretty well. I'll put some water on them. Especially the radish. The radish grows so well and so fast. If I wanted to, I could actually harvest it today after just 5 days. But I'll wait until the other stuff gets a bit bigger. Okay, that's enough watering now. They go back under the grow lights. Everything's back into the grow lights. So just a few more days and we'll be able to harvest this stuff. Okay, this is day 5 and it's about 1:30. Time to put some water on these guys. These guys are actually big enough I could have harvested them today for some salad, but I'm going to wait for another day. 5 days, that's not bad. This is the 6th day, the morning of the 6th day, and it looks like this stuff is big enough I could be harvesting it tonight. Here's our 1:30 watering, 6th day. It's been 1 week since I started growing these things, 7 days, and they're definitely ready for harvest. I'll spray some water on them and hopefully we'll get a chance to do some harvesting today. To harvest, all you do is take a pair of scissors, a pair of kitchen shears like this. Just grab a bunch of in this case, broccoli. Oh no, cabbage. This is cabbage. Pull it off like this, hold on to it. Put it in your bowl, and there you go.